This next video will be an interesting reflection on the journey from Satanism out of Christianity. And this video was inspired by a letter that was sent to me by a fan who was seeking help with his situation. And I thought that by making this video, I could help not only him, but I could also help others who are in a similar position. I'm going to read parts of his letter for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Over the last year or so, I've become very interested in Satanism. Your website by far is the best out of all the ones that I've discovered. The more that I research and the more research that I do, the more interested I become in Satanism. I come from a very strong religious background in the Catholic faith. I was baptized all the way up to being confirmed. However, I've always questioned Christianity and the Christian Bible. The devil seemed more human-like and was easier to relate to. After having religion shoved down my throat all of these years, I became an atheist. I told my dad that I no longer believed in God, and he said to me, "Where do you think your mother is? She's definitely not in hell." I figured that after all it was best just to keep my thoughts to myself. I read the Satanic Bible by LaVey about a year ago. It made a few good points, but it seemed more like glorified atheism than anything else. Out of all the forms of Satanism, theistic Satanism fits my beliefs the best. I'm not interested in joining a cult or anything. I'm more interested in being an independent Satanist and forming an alliance with Satan. If you could give any advice or anything else that you feel would help, that would greatly be appreciated. Thank you for your time. Well, I'm going to call this person Tony. And I think Tony's situation is not as unique as what he might think it is. Because I would have to say that many Satanists come to Satanism from a Christian background, and the majority of these Satanists are former Catholics. And that's simply because Catholicism is the largest denomination of Christianity, at least here in America. Well, switching over from something that you have been indoctrinated into a whole new field like Satanism, where you have your own personal choice and you're able to live life the way that you want, is not an easy thing to do. Leaving Christianity behind is one of the hardest things that Satanists have to face. Not only do they have to deal with family and friends, they also have to reconcile with the feelings that they have towards a God that they once believed in and a new God that they face named Satan. All of this is new territory to a person who is just entering into Satanism. And for Tony, he's only been into it for about 2 years. In 2 years you can learn a lot, but really it takes a lifetime to really be able to understand Satan and to understand Satanism. Leaving Christianity is a hard thing to do. And that's because when it comes to Christianity, it comes with a built-in sense or feeling of guilt. You feel that feeling of guilt and fear if you leave. And that's because you are taught not to leave the fold. You're taught to stay within the fold and to obey what the Bible says or what your pastor says. And if you don't obey these things, you're taught that you will be eternally punished. That's a very frightening prospect for some people because that's all that they've ever known. When a person grows up in a religion like Christianity, it's very hard to break away from something that you have known and believed in all of your life. And that's where I think it's important to understand that Christianity is one of many religions on this earth. And because it's one of many religions, it has certain requirements and it gives certain promises, but that's only true if you belong to that religion. Now, when Tony left Satanism, when Tony left Christianity and entered into Satanism, he made a personal choice to abandon everything that he had once believed in and to leave it behind and to enter into that uncharted territory of Satanism, where he was able to live according to his will, he was able to live according to his desires, and that in itself can be a very frightening thing, because people just don't know what to do with that kind of freedom. They expect to have a God to answer to at all times. But in Satanism, it's not like that. In Satanism, you live for yourself. You live your life. You manifest your dreams. You live Satanism. So it's a very difficult choice to make. But once you make that choice and you feel that feeling of freedom, it's something that you will never want to leave behind. Christianity comes with a lot of guilt. Guilt is a very powerful motivational force. It can cause people to do a lot of things that they don't want to do, but they feel that they have to because they're obligated. In Satanism, you have no obligations. You're not obligated to Satan in any way. And once you enter into Satanism, and you make a covenant with Satan through a pact or through an agreement, or just by giving your heart to Satan, that's a personal choice. That's not something that every Satanist does. That's something that only some Satanists do because they feel that that's the best way for them to express their desire to be with Satan and their desire to live as a Satanist. I would suggest to Tony that he seriously consider the reasons why he left his former religion, because it's for those reasons will determine where his path will head. And you can see that in the way that it manifested in his life. When he left Christianity, he went straight to atheism. He decided to just throw it all away and leave and never return. And for him, it left a void, a hole in his heart. I can understand that, because once you take away that feeling of divine grace, that feeling of awe and power that you once felt for a God, and you take all of that away and decide that no such God exists, it does leave a hole in your heart.